Entitled Jnana Yoga. Text number 56. Right. Samyatatmana yogo iti menate yashyatmana yatata shakyavaktum upayataha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada. One whose mind is unbridled, self-realization is difficult work. But he whose mind is controlled and who strives by appropriate means is assured of success. That is my opinion. Report. The Supreme Personality of Godhead declares that one who does not accept the proper treatment to detach the mind from material engagement can hardly achieve success in self-realization. Trying to practice yoga while engaging the mind in material enjoyment is like trying to ignite a fire while pouring water on it. Yoga practice without mental control is a waste of time. Such a show of yoga may be materially lucrative, but it's useless as far as spiritual realization is concerned. Therefore, one must control the mind by engaging it constantly in the transcendental service of the Lord. Unless one is engaged in Krishna consciousness, he cannot steadily control the mind. The Krishna conscious person easily achieves the result of yoga practice without separate endeavor, but a yoga practitioner in Krishna consciousness. Okay. another instruction given by Krishna to Arjuna. Of course, everyone of us. This is that the mind has to be controlled. We heard earlier the analogy of 5 horses, right? 5 horses being the chariot, 5 horses being the senses, and chariot being the body, passenger is the soul, driver is intelligence, and mind is the reins. So, what are the horses bridled with? You may not have experience. When I was a kid, my father had those vehicles. So I didn't get a chance to ride. I was too small, but they put me in the horse with them. But I had some interactions with them. Good and bad. All kinds of talent. That's different thing. Because they was determined aspects of my childhood. But I liked horses. They were very decent. Reminds me of IIT. So horses, they would put, I remember they would put some iron, like stuff into their mouth, and they didn't like it. They were all German. They didn't like that stuff. But that's the only way you can control it. You have to put that stuff into their mouth. That's called bridling. No? If you ever, everybody knows the bridle mind. What does that mean? It means that you put something to control it. Put some kind of some device, some kind of instruments, some kind of stuff. You put it in their mouth and they bite into it, and then when you put the ear, you pull like that, you connect it to brains. That's called bite. So then you pull this side, and of course now we have to pull this way, like this. You control those. So in a similar way, we have to bridle our mind. You cannot let it loose. You cannot let it just uncontrolled and allow him to do and think and force you practically into anything. Then there's no question of achieving anything in life. What to speak of in yoga practice? What to speak of anything? So mind has to be controlled. All of you are studying or have been studying all of it. No. Can you study without having your mind fixed and focused on the subject? It's not possible. So then how do you force your mind to study? What are the ways to force the mind? Now you can tell me some tips. How do you force your mind to study? You force the mind because if you get bad grades, you can get in trouble. It's one way. You use your intelligence to point to certain consequences. Is that the way? And then you force your mind. Does it work well? I don't know. Maybe it's individual. You force the mind. I don't pass this exam, what will happen? And then the intelligence tries to encourage you. No, better come on, sit down and study. Not very palatable, not a lot of taste there, but it's one of the ways. What are the other ways? What's the other way of forcing the mind to did you find your mind always being very excited about studying? How do you focus your mind? Failed last year. You're interested in maths. So you passed the maths. What about it? Easy. Okay. So there has to be some interest, no? That's easy. And some interest in there, then the mind will be attracted to do something, to be focused on something. Okay, what else? What are the other ways that you focus your mind on studies? What else do you do? What are, and you're all going through this. and share with you. I went through it, I don't know. I can, but I don't know. Because I didn't really study what I wanted to study. I mean, I figured that out later on, but it's huh? That's what I said. I gave it already. Give me something else. Huh? Schedule. You fix the schedule and you force yourself by schedule. Okay. Another way, maybe, yeah. This time you should study. How much time do you give? Well, that's schedule. Fine. What else? What else? People take some intoxicants, no? Take some coffee or they take stuff. Okay. They do some things like this. Not anyway, some other way. What else? How do you focus your mind? How do you focus mind in this class? What keeps you focused? It's difficult, no? that's the point with the mind. How do you get focused to try to understand the subject of discussion, or the subject of learning, or subject of anything? How do you do that? There has to be some, of course, one thing, understanding the benefits or drawbacks, or there has to be some interest, some understanding again of some utility, or there has to be some schedule. We make a schedule, whatever it is, we come to temple every Thursday, 8 p.m. Let's focus on studies. They help. Okay, that's not bad. In association, it's easier to study together. No, we help each other. You might not like it on your own, but then when you're together with someone, then you sit, discuss something, try to get some kind of learning as such. That's very effective. What else? Of course, these are some tips of or guidelines of successful learning process. What else is good? How do you force yourself to do something in life, like this, studies, anything? How do you fix your mind? Anything else other than meditation? Contemplate on the goals, okay. That's kind of similar to the first one. What else? Mind. You have to focus, you have to bridle your mind, you have to control your mind. That's the whole process. In the spiritual life, there's not much difference. Any success in the material world, which, let's say, in spiritual practice, it works on the same principle. You have to become master of your mind. If you're not master of your mind, you won't achieve anything. I know quite some number of people. They start something and they don't complete. They put a lot of effort. They do so many things, and then at some point they just leave it. They just leave it. And they're not successful in anything. They start one thing and then they just, they achieve something, again, something a little bit out of it. But then they start doing something else. So that's not a sign of a very focused and good mind. Then you have to, if you leave it at some point, it might happen. Then you have to start doing it again. That's kind of the process of education. What is the good thing is taking little breaks sometimes. Taking little breaks, if necessary. If you don't have to, that's better. That's a better sign. That means your mind is under control. But if it's not, then take a little break. As I said, when you drive a horse, you cannot always pull the horse. So it's not very pleasant for the horse to have that iron stuff being pulled all the time. Freak out. It will kick you down. You can't do that. You have to let some things move you. Especially if the horse is cooperating. There's no point of pulling. Pull that. Stop. So when things are going well, then you leave it. But when things are not going well, then you can sometimes relax. Then take a break. What did you ever try? Anybody here who is coming to temple and chanting? Did you ever try studying? and you find it very difficult for whatever reason, and you chant 1 or 2 rounds, and then you start studying. Did anyone try this? Yeah, you figured that on your own, or you heard it from someone? Or you had some extra rounds you didn't know what to do. Some rounds left over, so you can play. I mean, I did that. I found that very, useful. Very useful for the mind. It refreshes, it purifies. Of course, chanting at that point really it's not the focus. It's not really, you don't get the absolute benefit of the chanting itself, but it helps you doing so many other things. I'm not recommending that for doing other things in the sense. Of course, for chanting, it would be better to focus on chanting. But I'm just saying it helps. If you're in such a desperate material situation, then take to the chanting. Chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare. And you'll see after some time the mind will cool down. It cools down. Whatever it is, whatever difficulty, so many problems, so many issues, so many things that that hurt us from what we are supposed to do. And just chant 3 rounds like this. And you see, mind will cool down. And then again you sit down, okay, okay, good. Whatever you have to do. And mind starts cooperating. It has to be engaging like this. Well, let's use this word bridles the mind. What's the best way? Again, great mantra, try to deliver the mind. The best method of delivering the mind, controlling the mind. Otherwise, if you don't do that, if you don't control the mind, then what happens? As I said, then you'll be unsteady, unsuccessful, absolutely inevitable. Complete failure. Nobody wants to be a failure. Because of what? Because of crazy mind, unstable mind. And we said already, you know what is the extreme condition of the craziness? Extreme condition of psychological madness. Why is that manifested? Why that happens? When somebody is extremely lusty, then the mind snaps. It's really snaps. It's gone, finished. And people have so many psychological problems. Absolutely uncontrolled. Crazy minds. Crazy mind. I mean, I had some experience meeting with some people. Crazy mind. And there's not much you can do except trying again Maha Mantra. And then you see in the course of time how difficult the case is. Of course, if you can expose somebody to Maha Mantra. And then that healing process starts taking place. So it's just the last and frustration of inability to satisfy that lust. And then mind is gone. Mind is gone. It's really. So mind is a very important element. And according to Jyotish Shastra, do you know who is the ruler of the mind? Who is the ruler of the mind? Who is the controlling deity of the mind? Primarily. Well, there are different levels of it. If anybody knows who controls the mind, who really controls the mind. Okay, who controls the ego? Anybody knows this? False ego. You don't know that either. Who controls the intelligence? You don't know that. Krishna. Who controls the consciousness? Who is in charge of consciousness? But then if you don't, how will you control and advance in any of those if you have no idea whom to approach and whom to pray to and whom to ask for blessings? How are you going to do that? What are the expansions for that? Think now a little bit. First of all, raise your hand. Don't speak something because of suspending. Who are the controlling deities? You know or you don't know? Wait, I'm not asking. You just say yes or no. Yes or no. You know mine. Okay. You know mine. Anybody else? You You know what? You know false ego? Paka. Okay. Anybody else? Intelligence. Well, who is the controller of intelligence? What? Wrong answer. Completely wrong answer. Don't listen to what I say. Okay. Nobody knows, you see? Saga. What? Yes. How you don't know?
I think false ego is usually
Who said? Huh? No. Yes and no. That comes later. Deepak, what are you reading these days? Well, I'm asking a question. What are you reading these days? SSR. You're able to focus on your mind cannot. Huh? Trying. How many Bhagavatam cantos have you read? What? First canto only. What about the other 11? When you will do that? Huh?
part by part.
Part by part. Okay, Bolo. Moon is there. Okay, for the mind, moon is there. Yesterday was full moon. You know, in the West, they have an expression, lunatic. You know, lunatic? Luna in Latin. Latin means Spanish also. You know, French, whatever is that? Luna, Portuguese, whatever the Latin languages. You know, Luna means the moon. So when somebody goes a little bit crazy, where's Kanishami? That's when somebody gets a little you know, when they walk at night and you know they don't know where they're going, they just they just do like these things, you know. That's because of influence of the moon. Especially the full moon. It has influence on the mind. Yeah, it happens. So that's why that expression, lunatic, crazy man. Crazy in a different sense. It's just, he's not crazy like doing crazy things, but it's just crazy because he's not, he doesn't know what he's doing right. Yeah, just gets up at night and starts walking and going here and there and just ends up somewhere. He doesn't know how did he end up there. Something. So moon, okay, but I'm not satisfied with the answer. That's pretty gross. There are many more factors behind it. What is that? Who is that? Deity, yes. No. Soma, that's okay, yes. Soma is behind the moon. Yeah. Who is behind the demigods? Who is behind the demigods? It's such an easy question. Soma, who's behind the Soma? Anybody knows anything about Jyotish? So, nobody knows anything. Today's, what is today? Brihaspati, correct? Yes. So what is the deity in charge of this day? Nobody knows any Jyotish, huh? Brihaspati, yes, that's what it's called, Brihaspati. Brilliant, no, brilliant. Okay, so behind him, who is in charge? Which Vishnu Tattva is in charge for this day? Because we don't have to worship demigods, we can go straight to the original source. Who is in charge? Even that is. Okay, let's take the moon. Okay, moon, which day is assigned for the moon? Jupiter is Brihaspati, that's Thursday. Moon is which day? Monday. See, he gets something. Okay. He's saving it a little bit. Monday. Okay. Monday is also whose day? Who is in charge of it? Okay, yes, but even higher than that. Huh? How you don't know this? This is just the basic thing. Why? I don't even know why I'm discussing this. Discuss Bhagavad Gita, but you don't know this. That's why such a simple thing. Okay, let's say Sunday. Sunday is what? Ravivar. Okay, Ravi means what? Surya. Okay, so Surya, who is in charge for Surya? Who's behind Surya? Surya Narayan. Okay, no. Okay, who appeared in the Surya dynasty? Raghuvamsha, no? So who is in charge? Yes, that's the point. So then Monday, who is in charge? Krishna. Yes, it's Krishna. That's one way. But if it's not directly, then through him there are 4 other expansions. So who are those 4 other expansions that are directly in charge, more specifically in charge for what we said, mind, intelligence, false ego, and consciousness? You think you remember? Anybody else thinks? You have to be thinking because that's the function of the mind. Not thinking, that's the quality of the mind. You're not thinking, that means something's wrong with your mind. Or you're overthinking. How many did you ever hear? I hear overtime. I'm overthinking. No, people have so much trouble overthinking. I'm not able to focus. I'm overthinking. No, everybody have that problem. Overthinking. Sometimes I'm overthinking. So many things. That means you can't control the mind also, because mind is just running 100 miles an hour. Something. It's just doing so many things. You can't stop it. You can't focus it on anything. So, yes.
Sankarshan is for false ego.
Yes, Sankarshan is for false ego. Then, who are other 3? Huh? Aniruddha, yes. Aniruddha is for what? Wrong. Aniruddha is for mind. Aniruddha is for mind. Pradyumna, what is left? Intelligence, okay. And then last? Yeah, who is in charge for consciousness? Narayana. Vasudev. Okay, these are deep subjects, so we won't discuss those. That's like, just to give you some idea. So you want to control the mind, you have to worship Aniruddha. Or at least know something about Aniruddha. Of course, Krishna you can do also. But in the, if they are too transcendental, then sometimes people get material remedies and then they worship or Shiva or Soma. There are remedies like this, on Monday, then you do some vrata, do some fasting, do some yagya, dana, tapa, whatever, something. No? And then you can focus your mind, because the most important it is very extremely important element. Mind is such an important. If your mind is crazy or unstable, whether you really cannot do anything. I know sometimes in some devotees' cases also, so that they have such a difficulty controlling and doing anything with the mind. It becomes a big problem. Because it becomes a very extremely big problem. If mind is not, if they have in their chart, usually that's the first house. In Jyotish, different houses describing. So first one usually is the house. I think the first one is the house of the mind. It describes what is your position of your mind. Very important. Because what can you achieve? What can you do in life if your mind is just crazy, unsteady, and so many things? Very difficult. So that's even more important than, than let's say body. Usually Lord Ramachandra, Sunday, Saturday, that's for body, describes the body and stuff like that. But mind is more important. Body, anyway, health, yes, of course, we need health, good, this and that. That's fine. But mind is more important for spiritual practice. That's why mind has to be cooperative, like it's talking about horses and so forth. If horse is not cooperative, And where can you go? What can you do? So mind has to cooperate. So you have to bridle the mind, control the mind. And of course, you can't do that really on your own. We need help. And what is the help? From spiritual point of view, just getting straight to the source, original source of everything, which is Krishna, then we chant Krishna's name. So Hare Krishna mantra. Again, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So we all are trying to control the mind, and of course, that control doesn't come really by our endeavor, but by Krishna's mercy. And we see how it affects. It has a tremendous, effect that it strengthens that mind, it purifies that mind, it gives that mind the taste for spiritual practice, and then that mind becomes an asset. It becomes a friend, not an enemy. And it's not anymore an enemy, but it becomes your friend. It becomes an asset. Mind is a very important element. It's thinking, feeling, and willing, some of the qualities. So then we think about Krishna, we will about spiritual life, we practice, we do something in that regard, and then we are advancing in every sense. So that's why, but for those, like Krishna is saying here, whose mind is unbridled, self-realization is difficult work. So you can't do it, as we said, you can't do anything material, spiritual. What can you do? Sometimes, yes, should I go to temple? Maybe not. Should I, but again, everything is partial. Everything is, unsteady. So, but whose mind are controlled and who strives by appropriate means, it's assured of success. And that's Krishna's pointing at. So he said, mind is very important element. So it's not only that we are discussing here dhyana yoga, we're discussing any yoga. It doesn't matter which bhakti includes all of those. So, first is the mind control. That's the basic, that's the foundation. So Prabhupada points out that one who does not accept the proper treatment to detach the mind from material engagement can hardly achieve success in self-realization. Why? Because if you feel the mind, mind is attracted to so many material things. You can be even in the temple, but if your mind is attracted to material things, then you see a material thing, then what will happen? Your mind will go there. See this, smell that, touch this, taste that, whatever it might be. Then that's your mind will be dwelling on the objects of sense gratification. But then how can you be Krishna conscious? If your mind is focused on so many other things. And that can happen anywhere. So that's why one has to become detached from matter and become attached to spirit. How do you do that? By the practice. There has to be proper treatment. What is the best treatment? What's the best treatment? Getting up early in the morning. Early rising. It's the best treatment. It's not pleasant, of course. Nothing is pleasant initially. No austerity is pleasant for anyone. Nobody likes austerity, but you're forced to be, to do austerity. But do you like to study? Mostly no. Mostly the answer is going to be no. Of course, maybe some things, but again, it's an austerity. Do you like to go in a packed trains every day for a few hours up and down somewhere? Is that very nice? No. And then breathing that polluted Mumbai air and stuff like this, and this heat and so many trouble. It's an austerity. You have to do it. People go to work in office. How many of you are working? Raise your hand. Okay. You're working. Is it nice to go to the job? Is it easy? Every day? Every day? It's big tapasya. It's an austerity. But you have to do it. Otherwise, how are you going to earn a living? No. So it's an austerity. So nothing is easy, but some austerity has to be, because without austerity, you can't achieve anything. You have to keep on performing austerity. Now the question is, what kind of austerity one should do? That's a different thing. And then having the choice of understanding, like I said in the beginning, to force the mind, one of the most important things is what are the benefits, you know, how to inspire the mind to become involved in certain austerity. And then that austerity becomes a habit, you know, becomes a habit. So if it's spiritual, then it's beneficial. If it's material, then it's very bad, because it binds your mind further. So that's why we're discussing. We're trying to implement certain kind of a spiritual process and learn what are the benefits from it. Because again, if you don't control the mind, you don't do it even materially, then what is it said? There's a saying in the West, it's pretty common. An idle mind, it's a devil's workshop. Yeah. So then mind will be completely uncontrolled, completely unregulated. How can you live in life if you're unregulated? Sometimes you sleep, you know, in the morning. Sometimes you sleep afternoon. Sometimes you sleep in the evening. Sometimes you sleep at night. Sometimes you know, then again you sleep in the morning. And then you sleep. You know, completely unregulation. Or you eat sometimes, and sometimes you don't eat, and sometimes completely regulation. You get sick. Not just mentally, you get sick physically also. So complete unregulation. Or sometimes you're doing something, sometimes you're not. Like completely, there's no schedule for anything. So it becomes an enormous problem. Of course, you want to live like an animal, then that's a different thing. Just whatever comes along. But that's not for human beings. Human beings are supposed to be regulated. Then the mind is peaceful. Then one can become successful. Okay, so trying to practice yoga while engaging mind in material enjoyment is like trying to ignite a fire while pouring water. Very common, very powerful example. Huh? You know, you're trying to practice spiritual life, and then you also want material enjoyment. So that's not going to work. So Prabhupada gives a very practical example. You try to ignite the fire, but you're pouring water. How will that work? How will that work? What are you going to get? Anybody has experience? Ever poured the water in the fire? What happens? Huh? Any hands? Yes. Smoke. Okay. So a lot of smoke comes. Chokes your throat, pains your eyes, tears your eyes. That's what happens. So you try to practice spiritual life. You come to the temple, you try to do some service, you try to associate with devotees. But then you go out, and then you do so many bad things, and a lot of smoke will come out. So that's not going to work exactly. One has to learn how to regulate this. But just imagine you're giving something nice to the mind. Really something that is beneficial and good. And then next moment you're giving some garbage. And then mind starts liking, you know, that garbage more. Not very good idea. So we have to start using intelligence, understanding, is this really good or not? So then intelligence has another important function, discrimination. Mind has no intelligence of its own. Mind has to be guided by intelligence. Mind cannot discriminate. Mind acts, it's just like software, it's just like programming, you know, I like, I don't like. What is programming? It's your impressions. What you're giving and feeding into the mind. So one has to discriminate then based on intelligence. That's the only way we can advance in spiritual life. That's why we're discussing this. Intelligence, knowledge. To fortify that intelligence. To gain the understanding what is good, what is bad. And what are the consequences. Then you decide. That determination and decision actually really comes from intelligence. Not from the mind. Mind cannot do this. Mind just reacts based on, as we said, previous impression. That's why we have thinking. What it's thinking? Mind starts thinking, oh, previously I have been in similar situation, this, and I like it or I didn't like it, and based on that, then you start feeling, you know, should I go for it or not? So because I didn't like it, no, I'm not going to go. Or I did like it, there was something good about it, and therefore, you know, you start again feeling, and then, no, feeling, Feeling comes in between. Feeling means contemplation of what had happened, really, And then willing. Willing means doing, engaging the senses, forcing mind to engage the senses, or mind forcing the senses to act. So that's why one has to have proper knowledge, proper understanding. Okay, we're running out of time. Let's finish this purpose. So, yoga practice without mental control is a waste of time. So, you want to be successful in spiritual life. If you're still engaged in material things, like Prabhupada said, you go to some yoga societies. That's why in Chaitanya Charitamrita, I like that expression. Yoga is compared to black snake. Black snake. What does the snake does? Very dangerous. Poisonous one. So people practice yoga for what? For better sex life, for better this, for better that. So many different things that have nothing to do with yoga. Absolute misuse of the yoga principles. That's going on nowadays. So if you're doing like this, then you're lighting the fire, but you're pouring water. It's creating more trouble. So such a show of yoga may be materially lucrative, but it's useless as far as spiritual realization is concerned. Therefore, one must control the mind by engaging it constantly in the transcendental love service of Lord. The best process. That's what Prabhupada gave us this. Engage in the service. Do something for Krishna. Then you see what a blissful experience you will have. So unless one is engaged in that service, Krishna consciousness, he cannot steadily control the mind. And we've seen this. Unless there is some practical engagement, then see the mind will be all over everywhere. Very difficult to focus, very difficult to concentrate. So a Krishna conscious person can easily achieve the result of yoga practice without separate endeavor. But a yoga practitioner cannot achieve success without being Krishna conscious. Ooh, that's the last statement in this purport. And I'll repeat it again because it's very, very, very powerful. So listen to this. Krishna conscious person can easily achieve the result of yoga practice without separate endeavor. What is the process of yoga practice? Control the mind. Let's stick to this one first. Samadhi will come later. First, control the mind. So if you practice Krishna consciousness, you'll immediately, very soon, start controlling your mind. Very practical. Vedeshu yadeshu tapasu chaiva dhaneshu punya phalam pratishtha manyeti tatsarvam idam viditva yogi pranastham upaiti chakra. Just by bhakti, you achieve the results of all the other ways, yagya, dana, tapa, chaiva, whatever it might be. Get benefits of everything else. So that's why. But a yoga practitioner cannot achieve success without becoming Krishna conscious, because you may practice yoga, and then what is your ultimate goal? If you don't want to be Krishna conscious, what is your samadhi upon? What is your focus upon? If it's not on Krishna, what is the use? What is the use? Yeah. You'll be focused and you'll fall down, you'll be focused on something material. What is the last snare of Maya? Even for the great yogis, who knows that? What is the last trap in so-called spiritual transcendental practice? What is it? Lust? No. Yeah, okay. Subtle one. Yes.
Krishna is impossible.
Follow.
Think ourselves God.
What is yours?
Right.
Pride. Pride also may develop. Yes. But that's the same thing. Yeah, I already said subtle forms of lust. But he said, to think ourselves to be God. That's the last narrative. Yes. To bewilder ourselves so much that we are in such an illusion thinking that we are someone who is not. And that's another kind of madness. That's another, you see, you use transcendental science and everything, and then you become mad at the end, thinking that you're someone whom you're not. You're Bhagavan. That's madness. That's madness. Why? Because you're not Krishna conscious. And all of your so-called practice and austerities that you have performed to control the mind, end up again with a lot of smoke. With a lot of smoke. Okay. Any questions? Time is over. Huh?
Any example of that?
Any example of what? I told what? Who told what? Last near of mine. There's so many examples of it. How many people are there who are posing as transcendentalists, but they say, I'm Bhagavan. You're also, but you didn't realize I did. No? How many people say that? They're practicing so-called spiritual life, and they say, I'm better than God. What does the God knows? But then why are you taking from the Shastra? Invent your own method. Why are you making deities fashion on the image from the Shastra? Make your own deities, make your own forms, if you're so great. Why are you touching in the Shastra? If you're Bhagavan, you're created. There was one such Bhagavan, he said, in 8 months I aged so rapidly that my, old hairs became white. Said, if you're such a Bhagavan, why don't within 8 days, become young like a young boy? Why did you age so much? One of such kind of nonsense fellows said that. They make such a ridiculous statements. And he's very, very popular. Anyway, there are many. There are many. Almost everyone is thinking like this. Huh?
Some Vedic characters.
Vedic characters. Why do you want Vedic characters? There's so many nowadays. Yes.
Prabhuji, Krishna wants us to come back to him, and ultimately Krishna is the governor of our mind.
Okay.
So
Krishna wants us to
come back to him.
Come back to him, and he's governing our mind. Okay.
So Arjuna also saying he cannot conquer his mind.
Okay. So Arjuna said he cannot. Yes, that's why we discussed the last 2 verses.
So Arjuna was also like closely associated with Krishna, and
Okay.
So at that moment also, like if someone is into Krishna consciousness, means higher stages, so why Krishna means that mind fluctuation, or we say mind is not stable. So at that stage also, why we face that kind of situation? Why Krishna is not helping easily to, like, you are coming at this that time of consciousness?
Because you always have again free will.
At that time.
Free will is the term, like in the beginning we said, what is the process of studying? The process is how do you like the subjects, no? If you like the subjects, you'll study the subject, no? So if you like Krishna, you'll be focused on Krishna. No? If you don't like Krishna, you won't be focused on Krishna. So can Krishna focus you to love him and be focused on him? He's not going to do that. It's your choice. It's your choice. Every moment. Even when you're in the spiritual world, you have that choice. Krishna is not going to take you that choice away. It's your choice. Okay? That's what means being individual. Otherwise, you'll be just a machine. No? Machines have no choice. You put them this way, you put them that way. That's how they're going to act. That's it. We are not a machine. Krishna is giving us some free will. No? Okay, we'll stop here. Anything else we can discuss after. So Prabhupada ki jai, Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Govindas.